Hello everyone, hope you are all well. So by now you may have seen my last two videos. One of them was on the Amek 9099. The other was a short video showing 6 spectrograph charts of a sine sweep using the Brainworx channel strip plugins. It was specifically showing what I found to be extreme similarities between the harmonics and aliasing when cranking the THD function. Before I come forth with what I found, allow me to clarify a few things. For one, the spectrograph analysis in the last video doesn't account for anything except the THD function and aliasing. It doesn't take into account the differences in sound between the different channel plugins. Another thing very important to know is that these tests don't objectively prove that these plugins are low quality, nor are they meant to. Always demo a plugin to see if it is useful for you. These are meant to be as non-biased as possible. I want to present you all with the information that I find, and then you can decide for yourselves. With that said, let's get started. So we're going to start with a listening test. What I have is a mix I have done multiple times with different channel strips. In each mix, I'm using a channel strip on each track using the TMT feature and THD at 50%. This means that I have a mix for every channel strip where the only plugin being used is the channel strip on each track. I'm not using the dynamics or the gate modules for anything. I'm only using filters, EQ, TMT, and saturation, aka THD. I also did my best to level match everything, but due to the limitations between plugins, there are inconsistencies. Now this is a blind test, so I won't post which channel strip you are hearing. The channel strips being used are the 4000E, 4000G, 9000J, Amek 9099, Focusrite, and the console N. Post which mixes you think are the sound of which consoles in the comments. Let's start the test now. So there is quite a bit that I discovered when analyzing these plugins. And let me address first the aliasing issue, which is the easiest. There were a few comments suggesting various ways to oversample a plugin, ranging from using Reaper's own ability to oversample a plugin to running a session at a high sample rate or higher sample rate. These are all true and solid solutions. However, let me draw your attention to the Lindale channel strips, which all of them have an option that allows you to oversample the plugin. I'm not sure why Brainworx couldn't do the same. Another thing that I found is that the THD function algorithm seems to be the same between channel strips and even a few other plugins like the Amek 200 and 250, BX Limiter, and a few others. You can see here that I'm comparing the harmonics between plugins in Plugin Doctor, and even the aliasing is exactly the same or close to it. But perhaps the biggest find from analyzing these plugins was in the EQ values. So here I have the Pro Q, which I want to use for the test because the Pro Q has proven itself extremely trustworthy. You can see in Plugin Doctor that the chart shows 2.5 dB increments. Here we boost 5 dB, and you can see that it lines up correctly. Pro Q says it's 4.98 dB being raised, while Plugin Doctor says 5 dB on the peak. Same thing happens when I make the cut of 5 dB. Now, on to the SSL 4000E. Here I'm going to boost 3.1 dB on the plugin. Meanwhile, in Plugin Doctor, it hasn't even touched 2.5 dB. It says here 1.8. Here I am boosting 4.3 dB, and it's just starting to hit the 2.5 dB line. Now I want to match values with the Pro Q. The bandwidth is not my concern, but inaccurate EQ readings, that is concerning. Unfortunately, it doesn't stop there. Same thing applies with the 4000G high band. The high mids band is okay, but the low mid band shares the same problem, except this time it's boosting more than what it is saying it's boosting. It says 3.2 dB, while Plugin Doctor reads 4.3 at the peak. The low end suffers from this as well. It says I'm boosting 4.8 dB, but is only boosting 2.4 according to Plugin Doctor. Focusrite also shares this problem as well. The question becomes, can I trust the plugin for being what it's marketed to be? Hypothetically, if a plugin manufacturer claims that their EQ is the smoothest analog style EQ around, but is not boosting or cutting as much as it claims, therefore you think that boosting 8 dB at 2K sounds so much better and smoother than other EQs, then the claim is misleading. Interesting enough, this problem doesn't exist with the Console N, which so happens to be the first in the console channel strip series from Brainworx. A few words before we end today's video. The purpose of these videos is not to trash plugins or plugin developers. The purpose is to share information about plugins that I find when I'm analyzing them. If you already have these plugins, then hopefully these videos can give you more insight into the plugin's strengths as well as its weaknesses. If you don't have the plugin yet and are window shopping, hopefully these videos will help you decide which plugin you actually need. In the current world, it's not as easy to come out of pocket for a plugin that costs 200 euros or $399 US as it once was 3 years ago. Not to mention that software has no resale value whatsoever, which can make it a risky investment. Once you purchase it, there is no going back if it's not the right tool for the job. So if it's a crap plugin, or just not the right one, or perhaps it's a copy of a plugin you already have with a different skin, it doesn't really matter. The money is gone, and that's it. Again, I sincerely thank everybody for the likes, comments, and subscriptions. My channel goes nowhere without any of you. So until next time, happy mixing.